Welcome to the Jedi Ranger. I'm JohnBerry555, and today I'm continuing my 10th anniversary reviews of Star Wars Rebels with Season 2, Episode 19, The Forgotten Droid. So we have a Chopper episode on hand, which means craziness. No, seriously, Chopper is crazy. If you don't know, there's a meme, not really a meme, it's actually kind of supported by the number of people he killed, that Chopper is the Star Wars fandom's favorite mass murdering war criminal droid. Seriously, of the main characters in Star Wars Rebels, Chopper has the highest kill count of all of them. I remember when Star Wars was airing, there was a channel that was doing, death counts, and Chopper had most of the deaths. I don't remember what that channel was called. If I can find that, I'm going to link it in the cards for you. But speaking of linking in the cards, because I probably didn't find that, I got a video later this week where I'm going to be talking about Chopper. It's currently now available to all members, but if you're not a member, just wait till Thursday and you can watch it. But anyhow, let's actually talk about the Forgotten Droid. So the Ghost Crew goes to a plane because they need to get some fuel because they can't leave their carrier sitting in empty space while the rest of the fleet goes to scout out a location for a base. They go there, and we don't actually see much of the heist. But we do see Chopper looking and seeing a leg to replace his mismatched leg. He's told to stay with the ship. What does he do? He goes for the leg, and he ends up stealing it, and he gets left behind. Hence, the Forgotten Droid. Or is it? Because he gets chased by stormtroopers and finds himself on an Imperial cargo ship. A cargo ship that we saw arriving at the same time as a Ghost, which, honestly, I did not catch that 10 years ago, but I did catch that now. And there we are introduced to AP5, the logistical droid, who's responsible for basically knowing what's on board the ship. And him and Chopper go on an adventure. So Chopper gets his version of C-3PO. Yeah, I mean, literally, that's what happens. He removes AP5's restraining bolt and gets him to defect to the Rebel Alliance. Also, they, together, mostly Chopper, end up spacing a whole squad of stormtroopers. And I'm convinced that the only reason why Chopper didn't kill the captain of the cargo ship was because this is a kid's show and it was not in combat per se. Though Chopper definitely, I think, wanted to kill him. But yeah, so they go on an adventure, they learn, they become friends. And there's actually a scene later on where Chopper contacts the Ghost because they're like, we gotta go back for him, but we can't because the fleet takes priority. And complain about him being selfish. And can I say, Chopper's the cat, R2-D2 is the dog. When you look at their behavior, yeah, that matches them. Chopper is the cat. He sees what he wants and he goes for it, but he still ultimately cares about the people in his life. But apparently, Hera and all that, despite rescuing Chopper from a downed Y-Wing, which we actually will see that Y-Wing later on in, I want to say, Season 3. Or was it Season 4? One of those two. We got some episodes to go before we get there. But anyhow, Hera does not consider that Chopper considers her a friend. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But when AP5 describes himself as Chopper's friend, Hera's like, no, Chopper doesn't have any friends. And that tells you a lot about how everyone views Chopper. They view him like a cat, but in some ways, he doesn't care for us. He deep down does. He just doesn't like showing it. But like, the Forgotten Droid is more AP5. I bring up Chopper and all that, but Chopper is the first person since the Clone Wars, since the Battle of Ryloth, because AP5 was also there. He was just on board the ship, and his captain got killed during that, and apparently he got demoted from there. But anyhow, AP5 is the true Forgotten Droid. Chopper was forgotten in this episode, but the Ghost Crew, one of the first things Ezra said after we cut back, after they left Chopper behind, was, we gotta go back for Chopper. And the only reason why they didn't is because the guy gets the fuel to the fleet that quickly. They can't delay rescuing Chopper. But the intention is that as soon as we get the fuel dropped off and the fleet's safe, we're going back for Chopper. Chopper was never forgotten. When his Y-Wing crashed, yes, the Republic didn't go rescue him, but Hera rescued him. Chopper was not forgotten, but AP5 was forgotten. He kept on dropping down the ranks and now serving his empire. He's just responsible for inventory on board some no-name ship with a captain who basically treats him like crap. I mean, the idea, the impression that droids are saviors is very apparent in this episode. He has to follow his program, he has a restraining bolt, but he's like, oh, I would love free will, but I got my duties to pertain to. Basically, like, I would like to be free, but if I don't, I'll get beaten. In some ways, and certainly the Imperial captain threatens to melt AP5 down at least on one occasion and actually ends up shooting him. And Chopper sacrifices his new leg to repair AP5. Why they couldn't use his old leg, I don't know. Like, from a logical standpoint, wouldn't it make sense to use the older part to repair? Maybe, but emotionally, yes. They show that Chopper truly does care about AP5, that he was willing to let that happen without throwing a hissy fit. Granted, they do start arguing as soon as AP5 is repaired, but that's just going to be their relationship. R2-D2 and C-3PO also argue. Man, why is astromech protocol droids pairings always portrayed like a married couple? Honestly, a bickering married couple is like how almost every astromech and protocol droid pairing is portrayed in Star Wars. Why? I don't know, but that's almost how it always is portrayed. There's also another great scene where when Chopper contacts the ghost, Hero calls him by his designation, not his name, C110P or C110P, by basically his full legal name, very much portraying Hero as the mother of the group and Chopper as the rambunctious kid who's in trouble and ooh, you first middle and last name has been used. Like, that's definitely the tone they were going for there. So, like I said, this is a very great episode and a very good Chopper episode because Chopper has not really gotten character development, but here we see that he's more than that crazy droid who does whatever he wants, who's a mass murdering war criminal. No, he does care about people in his life. He doesn't show it well like a cat, or even like some autistic people who also struggle showing their emotions as well. So Chopper definitely has no trouble showing certain emotions. It's emotions regarding people he cares about that he struggles with, which honestly is more like a cat. You know, like, oh, yeah, I do care about you. I'm just not showing it, and I'm going to do what I want, and you will just tolerate it because you care about me and I care about you, but I'm me. That's essentially how some cats think, a lot of cats. But ultimately, though, we needed a good Chopper character development episode because he hasn't gotten it yet, all the way now into the 19th episode of the second season. I know there's a episode later on, I forget exactly which episode in whether it's season 3 or 4, where we get some character development for AP5, but I don't recall if we get any more character development for Chopper. But speaking of Chopper, Rebels Recon for this episode basically was all about Chopper, really. They did a whole skit with Chopper being surrounded by paparazzi, which I'm pretty sure was just two Lucasfilm office workers in reality. And then honestly, I kind of wish they did more things like Rebels Recon still. I thought that was a really great way for creators to communicate to fans, so that way we could better understand some of the stuff they were thinking about, even though it wasn't necessarily everything, just a little bit here and there. But probably the greatest thing is that they did a segment where Andy Gutierrez was interviewing the casting crew about who voices Chopper, and everyone was taking credit for voicing Chopper except Dave Filoni, who actually voiced Chopper. But we don't know that yet. We don't know that. I think I'm trying to remember if fans actually did figure it out 10 years ago, but we learned who actually voiced Chopper in the very last episode of Star Wars Rebels, which is quite fitting. Because until then, it's always Chopper voices himself. I mean, they literally have for Rebels Recon a Chopper on location for filming. So come on. But I just love that everyone, even Sam Witwer, who voices Darth Maul in actually Twilight of the Apprentice, spoilers, and also Emperor Palpatine earlier and all that, he appears in here and said, yeah, I approached them, I wanted to be in here, you can hide my voice, taking credit. Like, which is honestly quite funny because in 2 episodes he'll actually be in Star Wars Rebels voicing Darth Maul. He's also the voice of Sircar, by the way. Even he, not in the episode, comes in for that bit. But yet, the one person who doesn't claim is Dave Filoni, who actually voiced Chopper, which I think is just great. A really great way of doing that Rebels Recon bit. Have everyone claim credit except for the one person who isn't. I mean, that was a master class of, I'm going to just say comedy. Now, did we quite know that? I don't know. But yeah, I do kind of like that. And Dave Filoni said, Chopper voices Chopper, and then they cut to Chopper at the very end. And Chopper was pointing to himself. Honestly, that was a really great way of doing it. And also, one of the other running gags in Rebels Recon is Andy going to interview Pablo Hidalgo, just asking one question that fans had submitted. Wow, back when Twitter wasn't a cesspool. Wow, it's amazing how it has changed in 10 years. But anyhow, in this episode, he's just sitting off camera and they go, like, they changed a bit, so instead of her tracking him down, he's just right there, and they just exaggerated. Honestly, Rebels Recon was so fun. I really wish that they would do that more. Maybe it didn't get enough views back in the day, and I think that might have been the case. But not honestly, something like this would have been really good. Just a smaller thing that released after the episode. Though I believe now they are doing on Disney Plus behind the scenes featurettes after the show ends, which is honestly another good thing. But I really do like the ability for the cast and crew to talk about the show, even the chance to respond to some of the inquiries from fans, because that can help us understand what they were thinking. Now, we may or may not agree, our interpretations may differ, of course, but understanding where the creative minds came from can help us understand what a piece of art is saying. But here they just wanted to, and they say, we needed to get Chopper some character development. And honestly, we did need that. We needed to understand who Chopper was. And especially because that does help us inform some of Chopper's behavior later on. So yeah, The Forgotten Droid is a really great, fun episode. We get some classic Chopper moments. Him just being selfish, but also him having some being somewhat sincere. Somewhat actually sincere. It does happen. And actually, because of him going on his adventure and meeting AP5, the Rebel fleet is now going to walk into an Imperial trap. And that's how they discover Attilan at the end of the episode. And, well, Chopper gets a base named after him. Man, that must have really went to his head, even more than being the star in this episode. At least, I would assume so, at least. But anyhow, those are just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest content. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you always.